Yo, what's going on, guys? My name is Gold, and today there is some huge news. It is literally 1 in the morning, but I just got hit with the craziest bit of info. We have a new ban list that is going into effect a week from now on the 28th. We now have 3 cards that are being restricted. What this means is you are only allowed to have 1 copy of each of these cards. This is insane and something that I've been hoping for a long time. Right now, we have the 9-cost Whitebeard limited to 1, the 4-cost Marco limited to 1, and then Radical Beam limited to 1. By far one of the happiest moments in my entire life. I don't know about you guys, but Red has been absolutely overpowered. I've hated them for so long. They've just had this ridiculous aggression as well as card draw, and then they also were just able to pop anything. And this just continued and continued, not just through set 1, but set 2, and now through set 3. I am more than just, I'm just ecstatic. Like I can't even begin to describe just how happy I am. This is one of the things that got me really frustrated with the game, and it made me just not really want to go even to locals or regionals, because I know I just have to fight like 20 different Whitebeards and Zoro players, and that gets really old. I'm pretty tired of it. I'm sick of it. However, what does this mean for the actual game now? Well, while Whitebeard is probably the top deck, now I think most people are going to gravitate towards Zoro. I think it's pretty obvious that Zoro and maybe Trafalgar Law are going to be the absolute next best decks for this set. Now, even though they did use Radical Beam quite often, they do have the option of using Guard Point, and Guard Point is still searchable by Nami. And one of those things that happened, right, is you had the Izo, that was the big new searcher, and a lot of people basically replaced Nami with Izo, so you could search the Marco, search the Whitebeard, and now I think the Straw Hat package is what we're going to see more of now, and I think a lot of the things that are going to happen here are all going to be with Zoro. I think Law players kind of already have not too much worry about this. The worst thing for them is basically the Radical Beam. I'm sorry, I was looking at some Yu-Gi-Oh cards there. But basically, Zoro is probably going to be tier 0. Trafalgar Law is still really good. I think this does open a lot of possibilities for Law players. However, the deck is still a lot of work to still play. But in general, because people are not going to be having the Whitebeard, that means they're not going to be KOing smaller things. Now, you still have the 5-cost Marco, which is still going to be playable. So, for example, let's go ahead and take a look here at some of the stuff that we have. So the Whitebeard package will probably still run a lot of these cards. You'll have the Izos. You might still have 1 copy of these. It's not banned. You can still run it. But for the most part, the big point here is you still have this card. This basically is still God tier, right? You're still going to be able to kill the 3k power or less, but now with 1 copy of the Whitebeard, it's going to make things a lot easier to maybe recover. One of the most overwhelming things about this deck is when it's the 9 curve, you drop a Whitebeard, they don't take a life, and then next turn, they do the same thing. Like, if you have a Whitebeard into a Whitebeard, it's just devastating and you pretty much lose the game if they get that to go off. So now we're probably going to see a bit of a shift in the game plan. Whitebeard is still probably viable, but I do think that they're... Oh, why is that card in there? I do think that they're going to run the Izo package, but they're probably going to mix in some more Straw Hat stuff now. Now, while these cards are on the ban list, by no means is it going to be a bad deck. And I think if you're running a Zoro deck, you're probably still going to have these cards, right? Because you're still going to be able to take a lot of advantage of the Whitebeard, even if it's just a 1 cost, because you still have a lot of cards to search with the Izo that make it worthwhile still. So you'd probably just adjust the deck a little bit, maybe even see a little bit more play from this card, which is pretty annoying. But overall, I think that red decks are still going to be overpowered. While Whitebeard might be out of the picture, that doesn't mean at all that Zoro is going to go away. Now, what does this mean for people who are not playing red? Well, now I think you can kind of cater to a more anti-meta experience. For example, I think decks that do very well against Zoro are now going to be way better. So for example, people are going to play maybe Kuro. That in general is just going to be insane. Kuro is already really good against Law, and it's also really good against Zoro. The biggest problem is it doesn't have a whole lot of good times against Newgate. However, you're going to have a great time if every Whitebeard player is just swapping back to Zoro. So the real big question here is you're going to see kind of a triangle. You're going to see people who are playing red, in other words, Zoro and Law, and then you're going to see people who are going to play anti-meta decks such as Kuro, maybe even Kinemon. I think Kinemon might actually be relevant again. And then you're going to see still the yellow decks. So this is going to be kind of the big problem. I think Katakuri and Big Mom are probably going to be even better now, because that was a deck that really got hard countered by Whitebeard. And the biggest reason is because you would have cards that would trash a life, right? And that's the thing. You can't really trash a life off a Whitebeard player because they probably already have 0 life. So the 10 cost of Big Mom and the 7 cost of Big Mom were just pretty bad. They weren't that good in the matchup. So now these decks are just becoming way better. And honestly, I think Yamato even better too, to be honest, but she's not out yet. So either way, I think that this opens up so many more possibilities. The game is going to become so much more fresh, vibrant. I'm just excited thinking about it. I can't wait to play it, but we got to wait a week before that happens. I wanted to make this video kind of quick, let you guys know what I think about it. I think that if you're going to go out there and snipe some wins against Zoro, you're going to have a great time. However, if you do that, the yellow players are probably going to beat you, but then the Zoro players are going to beat the yellow players, right? So that's kind of the weird triangle that we have going on right now, and I think that's pretty acceptable. I think it's going to be a lot better than just playing against Whitebeard all the time and just kind of bashing your skull against the desk because they have 20 cards in hand and they're just hitting you for 6k every turn. It's just ridiculous, right? So I'm having a great time. I know red players might be a bit salty. The only thing that I kind of feel bad about are people who were playing Ace. I really liked Ace as a leader, and I thought he was probably the most unique red deck out there that was viable. So I really enjoyed him, and unfortunately he got hit a little bit harder and unnecessarily so. So I do feel bad for any Ace players out there. My condolences. But either way, that's it for this video. I just had to get that news out there as quickly as possible. So guys, make sure to leave a like, a sub, comment down below what you guys want to hear from me next. Maybe I'll work up some decks for you, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.